I'm Nancy Strickland, and this video will show you how to work with a VHD, a virtual hard disk, offline. Now, a virtual hard disk, a VHD, is a file like this one you see here with the extension VHD, and it contains the image of a hard disk, and it can behave like a separate system with its own operating system and applications. This is obviously a Win7 disk. It's hosted on another machine, but it works like a separate machine or a separate partition, and it's used by Microsoft's Virtual PC on Windows 7 and by Hyper-V, that's the virtualization technology for the server version of Windows 7, which is Server 2008 R2. VHDs are used for backups or testing or several other things. In the Windows 7 version, you can actually boot from a VHD natively. Also, in Windows 7, a VHD file can be serviced when it's offline, not booted up. To do that, you'll use DISM, which is a command line utility tool. It stands for Deployment, Image, Servicing, and Management. And to use DISM, you first have to map the VHD to a directory on your Windows 7 machine. It's kind of like mounting the image. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to start by opening an elevated command prompt. So I'll right-click the command prompt here, and then I'm going to use the command line utility diskpart, disk partition, which manages storage, to set up my VHD file as a virtual drive on my computer. Now, before I go on, let me warn you that diskpart can be a dangerous utility. Like the name implies, it can be used to partition your hard drive, not your virtual hard drive, your physical hard drive, and you could lose data or your system, so make sure you're careful here. Okay, so now I have my diskpart prompt, and I'm going to set up my virtual disk, and the command is select vdisk file equals, and then this requires a fully qualified file name with the whole path. So I'll need to provide it with a path to my desktop, and then the name of the VHD was Win7 VHD. And now I'm going to use the command attach vdisk, which attaches that file as a virtual drive to my system. And when I do, you'll hear that little system sound that says that new hardware's been detected. Now I'm going to exit that diskpart utility and back at my prompt, and that new disk was installed at the next available drive letter, which in my case happens to be J, and so there's my virtual disk. And now I'll change back to C, and I can use the DISM command to make changes to that image, to that disk. I can do a lot of servicing tasks without having to boot the VHD, so it's faster and more efficient. Okay, I'm going to use DISM to access my image, and that command is DISM /image : and then the root J : / of my virtual drive. And I'm going to give the help command, that's \, so you can see some of the things that you can do with DISM. You can see that what I can do, there's a lot of commands that start with get, so I can get information about my virtual hard drive, my image, like get the features, and I can add and remove things. For example, if I go up here, you can see that I can see the drivers that that image has and add or remove drivers. Well, what I'm going to do right now is, there's quite a few features you'll see. There we go. And for each of those, you get one little piece of information, whether it's currently enabled or disabled. If I want more information about a particular feature, I'll go up here at the top, and you can see that the games, all of the games, are disabled. And so I'm going to check on Freecell and get a little more information about it. To do that, the command is, instead of get features, it's get feature info, and then I have to say feature name and give it the name of the feature. And a warning here, these feature names are case sensitive in this command, so I've got to make sure I make it a capital F and a capital C, like you saw in the list there. And that's one good reason for doing get features, so you can see the exact name and spelling and capitalization. And now I can see a little more information about it, including the state, which we already saw, but also whether or not a restart or reboot is going to be required. Okay, let's say I want to enable this feature on my VHD. Instead of get feature info, The command is going to be enable feature, and I still need the name of the feature, of course. Now when I give this command, you're going to see that I get a little error, and the error is that there's a prerequisite Inbox Games. So I'm going to enable Inbox Games first. Again, capitalization matters. And now I can repeat my FreeCell command. And that's it. I'm finished. I've done it. It says the operation completed successfully, but will require a restart. But when I mount it in VPC, that will do that. Okay, I'm done. So now I'm going to go back to Disk Partition and select that file again. And this time I'm going to do a detach of my vDisk. And again, you'll hear that sound that says hardware is being removed. Now I can exit, and that's all there is to it. Now you notice that I had to do a two-step process to enable a game. And of course I might need to do more than one task. I might need to enable or disable several features or work with a driver, things like that. So Microsoft has a feature called an answer file that you can use, like a batch file, to automate this kind of servicing. I'm not going to be able to cover that in this 7-minute format, but you can get more information about it on MSDN. It's called an answer file. In the meantime, you see that you can easily work with a virtual hard disk offline in less than 7 minutes.